Okay, so we're going to talk about triangle congruence by SSS and SAS. Students will be able to prove two triangles congruent using SSS and SAS postulates. Okay, so the main thing here is we have learned that triangles need to have all of their parts in order to be congruent. All their corresponding parts need to be congruent. Well, that's not entirely true. They do need to have all their parts congruent, but we don't need to know all of that information in order to prove that it's congruent. In fact, all we need is three things, and those three things are: if three of the sides of one triangle are congruent to three sides of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So without knowing anything about the angles, if I just know that I have three sides congruent, that's enough to tell me that the two triangles are congruent. So that's one way. Now there's actually another way. Let's go to the next page. So this is side angle side postulate. So we could have three sides, or we could have a side angle side. And so this is if two sides in the connecting angle of one triangle are congruent to two sides and the connecting angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. And what they mean by connecting angle, that's the angle in between. Okay, and so let's take a look here. Should have missing a drawing there. Look, I have side, side, angle, angle, side, side. So what I like to do is I like to kind of color code this. So I'm going to say side, side, and then I'm going to say angle, angle, and then I like to say okay, I'll do purple. The double line is side and side again, and sure enough, in the same order I have SAS and SAS. They may be rotated or spun around, but we learned that doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. It says, by what postulate do we know the triangles are congruent to each other? Well, let's take a look. How do we know that this is congruent? Well, I'm looking at this and I see, hey, I have a side and a side, so I'm going to go side, side. And then over here, I have another side and another side. So far I have two sides, but look down the middle. This is segment YQ. Well, shouldn't YQ be congruent to itself? The answer is an obvious yes. And so these two things are congruent to itself. So that's a side and that's a side. And just two sides of the same segment. So this is SSS. Two triangles are congruent by SSS. By the way, if you find out that, or if you think that they're not congruent, like there's not enough information, you would just write, I'll put it off on the side, you would just write NEI for not enough information, then you move on. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Which one would this be? Look and see what I have, think about it. Well, looks like I have a side and a side, so I'm going to write side, side. It looks like I have two angles that are the same because they're both 100 degrees. And then it looks like I have two sides again that are the same because they're both 4. Side, angle, side, side, angle, side. This must be SAS. There we go. Let's do the next one. Alright, this is a good one. This is a nice tricky one. Let's mark what I know. Looks like I have a side and a side here, and it looks like I have a side and a side here. And now, is there anything else that I know? Well, some of you guys might say, well, nothing else is marked, so I don't know anything. Well, that's not necessarily true, because sometimes you're going to have to go on more than what's just marked. See, we know that angles that are vertical from each other, so these two angles, have to be congruent. So we can actually add that to the drawing. And if those two things are congruent, we could write a little a and a little a. And that means in the same order we have SAS going from purple to red, SAS, purple to red. And we have to go in the same order. I could not say, hey, SAS and SAS. That doesn't work, but this does work backwards, so it's okay. In class, I gave a bunch of examples that don't work, and you'll probably see some in your homework. But if you would like some more practice with this, just come see me. I got some worksheets and stuff that you could use to take a look at this. Alright, so the summary. So far you've learned the SSS and the SAS postulate. Could there be other ways to prove triangles are congruent? What do you think? Write your best educated guess. It's okay to be wrong. So just think about it and see if there's other ones that work. Alright.